Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you, and today we've got one that I'm going to admit is inspired by somebody else. The Time Teller is a watch channel. Jory Goodman, great guy. If you're remotely into watches, go check him out. I'm going to link to him down below. Not that he needs my help. He's a much bigger channel than I am, but awesome dude. But he just did a video called 3 Watches That Got Me Through 2020, and I thought that was a really good idea. His was mostly the most used. I'm going to expand on that a little bit. First of all, it's going to be a top 10 because I think I have even more knives than he has watches. But these aren't going to be like my most used of 2020. I already did a video on that. I know that this is February 2021 and I'm still doing 2020 videos, but this is the last one, I swear. These are ones that really got me through a really tough year. Stuff that brought me joy, as Nick Shabazz would say. I had a crap year in 2020. I know everybody did. Probably people had worse ones than me, but I got COVID. Mother passed away, lost a dog. It was a whole thing. And, you know, as a lot of people do when, you know, you're presented with these, you know, tough times, you turn to your hobbies. And, you know, especially when you're locked in your house by government mandate. So, yeah, my hobby is obviously knives. It's partly my job as well, but it's still, you know, my favorite hobby is knives, knife collecting, that kind of stuff. So I took joy in those while I was stuck in the house and bad things going on. So I picked 10. There's one honorable mention. And again, these are not the most carried, not even the most used necessarily, just the ones that made me happy during tough times. And I'm going to kind of explain why. I've got 4 different categories here. I'm going to just some big silly things I wouldn't normally carry. Ones that just are fancy and made me feel good. Ones that are really fun to fidget with, and then I do have a couple of just users that I kept turning to. But I'm going to start out with an honorable mention, and that is the We Knives Gava. About $235. It is a Raphael Brzezinski design, BRR knives. Just a great knife, and why it's on here is I kind of had lost interest in a lot of the higher end, you know, Chinese knives, especially Wee's in-house stuff. This is not in-house, it's obviously a collaboration, but I kind of stopped paying attention to Wee's higher end stuff. This isn't terribly high end for Wee, 235, but this, and then also I had a loaner of the Wee Knives Mini Buster, which I did wind up buying one of those, but especially this, it made me perk up again when I got this. This was, I bought it to review and catch and release, and still here, and it just made me really start to pay more attention to their stuff again. Branched out into where I bought a couple of Riots. I only kept one of them, but hadn't bought a Riot in a long time. It just kind of rekindled my interest in this, you know, quasi-typical, you know, ball bearing, full titanium frame lock flipper. But this one's a bit more unique than that. But still, it rekindled something that I had lost. So that is why this was actually in my pocket today. It's on my Instagram page today. Now, getting into the actual 10, and these are in no rank or order or anything. When the first lockdown happened, when I first got, you know, we were told to stay in our houses, and we were all taking it extremely seriously, I started carrying really big stuff. If you go back and look at my my most carried, the monthly videos I do for, I think it was March, yeah, stuff got weird. I think it's in the title of it. And one knife that is really during those times that I just loved carrying around, because not only is it a great knife and I like it, and it's not horribly expensive, it really annoyed my wife, which was cool. So it is this, the Cold Steel Formax Scout, $110, 4-inch blade, 10.2 ounces of silly, and I love it. It's just such a cool knife, and it is more usable than I thought, and more carryable than I thought, actually. But yeah, I'm figuring I'm stuck in the house. I'm gonna rock a Formax all day because I can. No one's gonna say anything to me about it except my wife. But it does cut a lot better than you'd expect. The ergonomics on it are just awesome. I use this for all kinds of silly stuff. Obviously, you know, that period of time was Amazon galore, and we were cooking a lot more than usual. I'm using it to open like frozen food packages and stuff, and you know, annoying my family, and it's just, I just like the thwack you could hear across the house, you know, whenever I take it out to open stuff. It's been a lot of fun. I really do like this knife, still do. I do see that they are now coming out with a revised, upgraded version, an S35VN and G10. Excited for that. I will definitely try and get one of those. Formax, you can carry it. It's not that hard, but it's better when you're stuck in the house and no one can judge you. Another one, this also fell into the annoy my family category. One of the most expensive knives that I own, if not the most expensive. You have the Microtech Combat Trudon Hellhound. Always wanted a Hellhound. Kind of wanted a Trudon to try one out. Decided to combine the two. And again, this just falls into stuck in the house. I can carry something ridiculous. I'm gonna. And this is big and scary and silly, but yeah, about $680 in that price range somewhere. This is the distressed gray finish. I didn't beat it up. It came this way. Love the Hellhound blade. Just looks cool. Is fairly thin behind the edge. Does actually cut pretty well. And for being a big old stonker, my UTX 85, the spring is, you know, kind of tight on it. This one isn't as bad. It's fairly easy to fire and pull back. You're not going to destroy your thumbs with it. That was a pleasant surprise. But love the Hellhound. I do still carry this a fair bit. It's, again, just the nature, you know, just the shape of it. It's just a little candy bar, well, big candy bar. It's really not that hard to carry around. A pretty decent pocket clip on it, all that stuff. But I'm not in love with the glass breaker. I may get rid of that. But yeah, love the Hellhound. I spent a lot of money on it, so damn it, I was gonna carry it around. This is the last that I would put in the big category. This one isn't super huge, and honestly, you can carry it around fairly easily, but it is the Hinderer Full Track. These are discontinued. It was $5.95 when they were new. Actually, what I paid for this one, I did find a new one in stock. I don't know if you're going to be able to anymore. This does have aftermarket scales from Sharp Dress Knives on it, these carbon scales, but S35 Yanks it's an older Hinderer, but it's discontinued. I always wanted one. It's kind of bulky. It's not huge, but I will say even an XM24 I think carries a little bit better than this in the pocket. But ergos are great. It has, you know, this was actually the first with the tri-way pivot, so it's got the nice action that you'd expect, and I've just really enjoyed having it around. It's got a tool in the back. You can take it apart. I did a lot to the point I think I've kind of started to wear out these screws. So I'm going to have to get new ones. But yeah, it's a fantastic knife. And it's just, you knew there was going to be a Hinderer on the list, right? You probably didn't think it would be this one, but this is kind of the one that brought me the most joy in 2020 during some tough times. And I just had bigger stuff in my pockets for a while when you're stuck in the house. These next two are kind of the most unquantifiable. I probably should have saved them for last, actually. But these are two that just kind of made me feel good. They were just kind of little pick-me-up, little cheer-me-uppers, because they're really nice. And for different reasons, they made me feel good. This first one is just because it's pretty and it's awesome. And I'm not performing anymore. I'm not doing stand-up still to this day. They have not opened any of that up. So I don't use my dressy knives that much, but this is the ProTech Harkins ATAC. Not only is it gorgeous, this is the least expensive version. It's $450, but I will say don't bother going looking for them right now unless you're looking on the secondary market, because they only make, I think, a couple hundred of them every 4 years. This is the basic one that was $450, but they did crazy custom ones that were like a couple grand and up. So this is, you know, the basic one. But not only is it a super smooth manual folder, very smooth manual folder, it's also a hidden automatic. If you know where to press, it's an auto, and I just think that's so cool. If you open it like a manual, it closes like a manual. If you fire it like an auto, then the spring kicks in, and you got to push to reload it. That's super cool. Really nice milled titanium pocket clip. Yeah, this one just made me feel fancy. I put this in my pocket on holidays and stuff. I believe I had it in my pocket on Thanksgiving, maybe it was, and then New Year's Eve, I think, again. It made me feel pretty, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. But love the ATAC. Just super cool knife. And the next one would be, I think this is kind of a bit, maybe a bit nostalgic too. My Chris Reeve large Incosi with the Tanto blade and the micarta inlays. $550 for one of these. They do come and go, but I know left-hand version ones are all over the place now. So if you're a lefty, you know, go snatch you one up. But you know, when I first started in knives, Chris Reeve was like the pinnacle. Everybody, you had to have a Chris Reeve. You had a Sebenza. I had a Sebenza 21, and it was okay. The 31 was okay, but when I got this, I really like the Nkosi, and it really gelled with me, and it's just part of that Chris Reeve thing, you know. It just, to me, it's still, I have that nostalgia that they're still the pinnacle, even though I have more hinderers and they're just as expensive. You just have that nostalgia in your head about Chris Reeve was Chris Reeve, and now I have a couple, 3 of them, and I have a Chris Reeve hat and everything. I have a Chris Reeve patch on my backpack. I'm one of those guys, but it just felt good to have a Chris Reeve in my pocket, especially a Tanto one like this that's just screaming sharp and awesome, and really do like it. It does have a aftermarket clip from Lynch Northwest on it, which was not inexpensive. I think it was $78. So yeah, I love the Nkosi. It's still my favorite Chris Reeve. I have an on now. You guys are bugging me about that. I got one of those. I like it. I don't like it as much as it's a Tanto as well, but I don't like it as much as this. It's pretty cool, but I don't like it as much as this. The Nkosi is just my jam, and again, felt good. I put my Chris Reeve knife in my pocket, my Chris Reeve hat on, and I just felt, I don't know, good about myself. I guess I think I got this while I was actually sick, if I remember correctly, timing wise. I may be off, but you know, made me feel good. I was sick for quite a while, so and I don't remember a whole lot about it, so who knows. Next up is fidgety. You're stuck inside. Again, we're stuck inside. We're sitting around. We're not doing things. Even when we were allowed out, we weren't going out to restaurants, weren't going out to concerts. I wasn't performing, not doing my usual stuff. Sitting around watching a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of movies and stuff. I need something to fiddle with. And these were 3 that really got me through in the fidgety wise. First up would be, of course, you guys knew this knife was going to be on here. Demko 8020. It could have fit into that big knife category as well, but it's really not that big to carry. It's really not that bad at all. People think it's big, but it's not that huge. It's a 3.5-inch blade. It's a chunky monkey, but it's not horribly heavy or anything. But just the fidgets on this, you can open it multiple. Listen to that sound. Yeah, you can open it so many ways. I just, I love this. I love this knife very, very much. It's super cool. The only way, I'll probably never get rid of this one. The only way I'd ever get another, if I could get a titanium one and the money was right. Money's not going to be right for a really long time, though. We're looking to get a house and all this stuff, but getting off another subject. Money's going to be non-existent for quite a while, but if it, maybe someday a full titanium one, but we shall see. $450, by the way, for one of these. This is the machine ground one. It's not the custom expensive one. It's the $450 one. Next up, we have the Benchmade Anthem. I had one of these, sold it, got another one. This is the second one. And it's just nice to have an Anthem back. Unfortunately, they are gone. They were not discontinued when I got it, but glad I did. They were $362, the last prices, you know, when they were still being made. Unfortunately, I only took a quick glance, but it looks like they are exploding on the secondary. We have another swish buoy situation on our hands, I'm afraid. Maybe not quite that bad, but we'll see. But titanium, full integral, access lock, but a different spring on it. It's got a coil spring instead of the Omega spring. But love the Anthem. Again, sound is important. Especially when you spidey flick it. It makes such a good noise. I did put a different clip on it because the one that comes with it is obscene. So yeah, love the Anthem, and just again, great fidget. It's so smooth. This is smoother than my old one. I'm not quite sure why, but love it. Will not be getting rid of this. You know, unless they hit $1,000. I don't think they're going to hit that. I did see one today for $550 somewhere, which is, it's not worth $550, guys. And then next up, lastly, in the fidgety category, another OTF. This is the Guardian Tactical Recon O35. This carbon fiber version is $325, but they're $279. Another one's kind of hard to get, but they're not too terrible. But the action on this is just not too many autos I can sit and do that with and not wear my thumb out. This would not wear my thumb out a bit. It has the two little bearings underneath here that run on this stainless steel plate. That's what makes it so smooth instead of running on aluminum like a lot of them do with no bearings at all. It's just pisses the family off more than any of the other knives on here probably, because I'd never open it and I never fire it once. Even if I want to take it out of my pocket and I gotta open this package. Open the package. I don't just close it and put it in my pocket. I go and then put it in my pocket. It's too much damn fun to play with, and also extremely comfortable ergonomics. Very little blade play. I love the blade shape. This is LMAX. It's just, yeah, this is probably my favorite OTF. It is my favorite. It's definitely my most used OTF for sure. And lastly, these are users. Knives that one already was an old friend, and then one that kind of became an old friend over the course of the year. The first one would be the Spartan Harsey. This is one that became an old friend over the year. This is an older one, an S35VN. They are in S45 now. You can see it's a bit unique. It has the PVD coated handles and the stonewash blade. It's not a usual combo you can get. Usually, if you just pick one off the site, if you get PVD, you get PVD coated blade as well. I just called and asked them if I could mixy match him, and they said, yeah, sure. So it was a no cost thing or anything. I got it straight from Spartan, and it's broken in so well. It's a fairly large knife, but I just love it. It's just a very useful thing, and this was one that I carried as a user a whole lot, especially like the first half of the year. Towards the second half of the year, I think maybe I carry the smaller version a little bit more, but first half of the year, definitely, this thing was just something I grabbed all the time. Just, you're not going to hurt it. It's who cares? And then lastly, an old friend that has been an old friend for a while, in two different guises, because I've had two of them. This is the Spidey Chef. This is one of the newer ones with the black hardware on it. LC200N Titanium. You're looking at about $234 for one of these. They're not horribly expensive. I think a lot of people think they're a lot more than they are. Martine Swish design. I was cooking a lot. I used it in the kitchen. I know people say, yeah, it's a terrible chef's knife. I'll cue the comments for that, but it works fine, and it's LC200N. It's not going to rust. It's completely corrosion proof. I proved that. I put it in a battle to the death against the Quiet Carry Waypoint. I did soak them both in salt baths for hours, and neither one of them had anything wrong with them. It's a really, really just fire and forget kind of knife, and I like the ergos. I find the blade shape to be pretty useful. Carries well. It's nice and slim. This was one that I just grabbed all the time. It's hard to find. It was one of these knives that it's kind of hard to find a reason not to grab, if that makes any sense. It does everything fine, and you never have to worry about it corroding. And it's beaten up enough now that I really don't care if it gets more beat up. It's not a horribly expensive knife. It hasn't been discontinued. It seems to be no indication that it's going to be. So, yeah, that would be my 10 knives that got me through 2020. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Kind of a weird concept, but blame Jory. Love his channel. Again, go check him out if you're into watches. I've been Brian. Have a good one.